Welcome to CNN and the Clarington Central Remembrance Day special presentation. Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board respectfully acknowledges that the land in which we gather and learn daily is the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga First Nations. We are grateful for the contributions of the First Nations people in pursuit of defense of peace. As people of the Williams Treaty, we continue our journey to strengthen our understanding of our treaty relationship and have had to move forward together in a good way. Today, we come together as an entire school to recognize the importance of peace and how important it was 106 years ago that this tradition was formed. We continue to be proud of the contributions of Canadians and their role in the peacekeeping community. Please stand for the playing of O Canada by our very own concert band. The Grade 10 Comtech class has prepared some digital stories to highlight some thought-provoking reflections this Remembrance Day. Did all those sacrifices make a difference? This first video looks into that.
Throughout Canadian history, many brave Canadians have served in wars and other conflicts, making huge sacrifices to have a better future. From World War I to the war in Afghanistan, their bravery has been tested to the limits. But did their sacrifices truly matter? The answer is yes. The help and support of Canada in both wars made quite a difference. At Vimy Ridge, Canadian soldiers won a major battle that gave the Allied forces a huge boost and helped change the outcome of World War I. In World War II, they also helped protect important supply routes across the Atlantic Ocean and were important in freeing Europe. Later, Canada was known for peacekeeping because of the troops they sent to calm down fights all around the world. The Canadian peacekeepers have brought peace and have protected people in places like Cyprus and the Balkans. This has given Canada a positive reputation as a country that helps others. It also has been given a bunch of awards like the Nobel Peace Prize and the Canadian Peacekeeping Service Medal. By remembering the sacrifices of our soldiers, we honor a deep and lasting legacy. Their bravery built a better and more peaceful world for us all. And in return, we must honor those sacrifices every day so that their efforts aren't forgotten, lest we forget.
This next video is about the last death in World War I.
It was the final minute of the First World War. Everything was supposed to end at 11, but there was one man who kept moving. Henry Gunther. Henry just wanted it all to end and to be over with. He thought that if he died, war would end forever. And then it happened. At 10:59, Henry was shot and killed 1 minute before it all ended. War didn't end because of him. It never does. There will always be one last person. There will always be another Henry, another person who believes their death will end war forever. But it never does. If someone was to go back in time and ask Henry, is this World War I or World War II? Henry would be shocked. He couldn't imagine a world where they would do it all over again. Henry Gunther's death didn't end war, but his death represents something bigger. His death represents everyone who just wanted peace. Henry wasn't unique. He had the same wish as all of us, to be the last person to die in a war. But maybe that's what makes his story matter, because his wish is still ours.
Next up is a look at PTSD, another reason to remember.
Imagine returning to war with injuries that no one can see, not even you. In World War I, soldiers felt broken and stressed, but their minds were the ones that were hurt. Back then, PTSD was known as shell shock, but doctors barely understood it, making many hypotheses, but many never sticking. Society started blaming the soldiers for their symptoms, saying they were faking it. By the time World War II rolled around, it was called combat stress reaction. Doctors started to recognize that trauma was an actual thing and the war was causing mental health problems, like insomnia and depression. Soldiers were acknowledged, but treatments were still extremely limited. Today we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Symptoms now are different and include intrusive memories, avoidance, mood changes, and physical reactions. Roughly 13.8% of veterans that are returned from war are diagnosed with PTSD, and roughly 22 veterans die every day by committing suicide. Awareness and support have improved, but the struggle continues. Today we have learned to recognize PTSD as a real injury and provide therapy, understanding, and care. From shell shock to PTSD, the pain has always been real. By learning and supporting veterans, we can help them fight these invisible battles and find hope.
Remembering women in the war effort is the subject of this next story.
Everyone remembers the war, but how often do we talk about the women who lived through it silently and how it changed their lives forever? When men went to war, women were left behind not to rest but to rebuild. They worked on the farms, ran factories, and drove buses, and filled jobs that once only belonged to men. All for half of the pay? Is that fair? They faced danger, breathing toxic fumes in factories, working endless shifts, coming home to empty houses, and dreading the telegrams that could break a family in seconds. And then when the war finally ended, they were told to step aside, to give their jobs back to the returning men. But still, the world could never unsee what women had proven. Their courage has many forms. One of those women was Willa Walker. When the Second World War began, she joined the Royal Canadian Air Force Women's Division. At the time, women weren't even allowed to fly. She trained thousands of young women for service: mechanics, clerks, drivers, and wireless operators, roles once thought impossible for women. Willa's story showed that war didn't just change the world's borders, it changed women's possibilities. But that progress came with sacrifice. Behind every uniform was a mother who lost a son, a sister who waited for letters that never came, a woman who gave up her dreams so others could chase theirs. Because of them, girls today can dream bigger, speak louder, and lead without apology. So when we wear the poppy this November, we're not only the men who fought overseas, but the women who fought from home, with strength, resilience, and hope, lest we forget.
Finally, a personal story of why we remember.
September 1st, 1939 marked the beginning of one of the bloodiest times in human history. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime invaded the country of Poland, starting the biggest war in the history of our planet. My grandparents, who lived in the Netherlands at the time, got caught up in the midst of these dark ages, and every day turned into a struggle for survival. Before the war, the Netherlands looked very different. With its picturesque windmills, beautiful tulip fields, and stunning scenery, it was a small, beautiful country and a place that my great-grandparents were proud to call home. However, on May 10, 1940, everything changed. Adolf Hitler attacked the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg, so the Netherlands declared war on Germany. Unfortunately, the German forces proved to be too strong for the Dutch, and they ended up conquering the country. For a couple of sad, long years, the Germans occupied Holland. Times were tough, and my great-grandparents had to cope with loss, find food, and survive the many battles that took place on Dutch soil. The unpredictability of the war left them in constant danger, always wondering when the next bullet would fly and worrying when the next bomb would explode. The Allied forces attempted to free the Dutch people numerous times, but the German forces proved to be too strong. Just when things seemed to be completely hopeless for my grandparents and the rest of the Dutch people, heroes emerged. After D-Day, the Canadian Army began to sweep north through the Netherlands. They fought off the German forces, and on May 5, 1945, the Germans surrendered Holland. While liberation was joyous, the Second World War took a heavy toll on the Netherlands. Many civilians lost their lives and the country was in ruins, so as a tribute to the brave soldiers who saved their lives, my great-grandparents immigrated to Canada. Once in Canada, my great-grandparents began a new chapter of their lives. They learned a new language, adapted new customs, and raised a family. If it weren't for the heroism of the Canadian Armed Forces, none of this could have been possible. My great-grandparents wouldn't have survived the war, and all of my family members, including myself, wouldn't be alive today. Although my great-grandparents passed away when I was young, their story continues to inspire me to this day. To me, each Remembrance Day serves as a reminder to the bravery of not just my grandparents, but also those who protected them and fought for them. It allows me to recognize the sacrifice of all the soldiers who lost their lives, as well as the people who have suffered the consequences of war. If it weren't for all these people, our world could never have been what it is today, and for that, I am thankful.
Please stand and remain standing for a minute of silence for all those who lost their lives in the service of peace in the past, present, and future. Thank you, and please be seated. This concludes our Remembrance Day ceremony. We appreciate the respect you've shown today and that you continue to show respect at 11 o'clock when the entire world marks a moment of silence.